Guys, CK Dlamini speaking. I'm back again with another video. As you can see behind me, just a nice topic, an exciting topic, which is simply probability. Obviously, these kinds of topics, we get them from grade 10, we do get them from grade 11. So they're just both in grade 11 as well as grade 10. I'm just going to be reviewing one of the questions in which I extracted from one of the final question papers of November. So I'm going to be explaining mostly when it comes to mutually exclusive events, complementary events, as well as the Venn diagrams. I'm just going to play around these, as you can see how exciting they are. So now let's jump on the first one there. 7.1 simply states that in a random experiment, A and B are two different events. P of A is simply equals to 0.4 and P of B is equals to K. Now, looking at the first one, okay, fine, let's interpret the statement. The statement has some keywords. These are keywords. When looking at two different events, those are keywords of these two events. So they are different, but we do not know how different are they. They're not specific. So now let's look at 7.1.1. 7.1.1 simply says if P of A or B is equals to 0.6, determine the value of K if A and B are mutually exclusive. Now we get something that is bringing clarity to those two different events. So now we have mutually exclusive events. Now let's look at it. What is it that comes to our brains when we're thinking of mutually exclusive events? We know that it's two events that cannot happen at the same time. When it comes to probability, meanings, definitions, you must know and understand them. Mutually exclusive simply means that two events that are not that cannot happen at the same time. That is why we come to the fact that now P of A or B is simply equals to P of A plus P of B. Understand? This comes from the fact that these are mutually exclusive. Mutually exclusive, as I said, simply means two events that cannot happen at the same time. That is why we are adding these two events. So now P of A or B equals to P of A plus P of B. That's the definition. So P of A or B, we are given that P of A or B is equals to 0.6. So it's going to be 0.6, which is simply equals to P of A we're given as 0.4. So it's 0.4 plus P of B we're given as K. So we have K. Now the question is saying, for which it's saying determine the value of K if A and B are mutually exclusive. So now we have a solve for K event. So now 0.6, remember we need to transpose this to this side and it's going to change the sign. 0.4 then equals to K. Now we know that K is supposed to be 0.6 minus 0.4, which is simply going to be 0.2. That is our K for 7.1.1. Then we got our 2 marks. This is the first mark, then the second mark there. So now we have 2 marks there, then we are done with 7.1.1. Moving to 7.1.2, it simply says for which value of K is A and B complementary events. Still dealing with the two different events, but now they're saying these events are complementary. What does it mean? If we add these two events, complementary simply means when we add these two events, their sum is going to be equals to 1. So now we know that, okay, fine, this was the first one, number 1. Now we're moving to number 2. Number 2 is simply says complementary, and complementary will tell us that P of A plus P of B is equals to 1. That's what they mean by complementary. So now we already know that P of A is 0.4. P of A is 0.4. But remember they said for which value of K is A and B. So we cannot put K that we got there. We need to put the value of K. Due to it's a different situation now. Plus K as the event of B, which is equals to 1. Now K is simply equals to, we take this one we transpose, we have 1 minus 0, 4, which is going to be equals to 0, 6. That's our value of k. So this is our value of k in this case of complementary events. Going to remove this, then we start with this since it has a lot of questions. Okay, fine. Now let's just continue from those two questions that we had. Now looking at this 7.2 simply says for two events v and w which are not mutually exclusive. Now this not mutually exclusive, what does it mean? Not mutually exclusive is not the same as mutually exclusive. Remember, mutually exclusive is equals to P of A, or P is equals to P of A plus P of B. That's mutually exclusive, as we have stated on those questions at the top. Now, not mutually exclusive. Now, what does not mutually exclusive mean? Not mutually exclusive means simply says P of A or B is equals to P of A plus P of B minus P of A and B. This one has a Venn diagram that has just two circles, separated circles. This is B, this is A. But now this one has an intersection, which is these two circles. This is A, this is B. Can you see that? That's it, with mutually exclusive and not mutually exclusive. So we're going to use this knowledge to answer everything that is here. Now let's check. Looking at this, you can simply see this is the information we're given. P of 35, P of V is cos 35, P of W 0.55, P of V or W 0.80, P of V and W is equals to X. Now, we want to represent the information event diagram. How do you represent this information event diagram? We draw a big diagram so that we can see it clearly. Then we have these two circles. Already we know that it's not mutually exclusive. This is V and this is W. Since we know that, what is our intersection V and W? It's X. But now what is our P of V? It's supposed to be 0.35 minus X. This one 0.55 minus X. Then already we know that our sample space is supposed to be equal to 1. Why? Simply because when we look at these numbers, none of them is greater than 1. Now we know that if P of V or W is equal to 0.80, then everything that is within this circle is equal to 0.80. Then we say 1 minus 0.80, we get 0.2, in order for us to know which one is not part of these two events, 0.2. So that when we add everything that is within this rectangle, it gives us 1. How do we solve X now for the first question? We know that X is supposed to be 0.35 minus X plus 0.55 minus X plus 0.2, which is equal to 1. We're adding everything that is within this rectangle. It must give us 1. So when the sum of these must be equal to 1. These two are additive inverse. We cancel them. They're equal to 0 at all times. Now 0.35 plus 0.55 minus X plus 0.2 is simply equals to 1. So now we understand that when we remove those two, this is what we are left with. And then we continue. Now we need to take at all times, in order for us to solve the equations, we must say variables cost constant. So this side there's a variable which is negative X. Then we take everything that is here, we bring it this side. But this side we already have 1. We take this minus 0.35 minus 0.55 minus 0.2. Then negative X is equals to. Now we're going to say this is supposed to be equal to 0, negative 0.1. Then we divide both sides by negative 1, negative 1. Then this negative is cancelled. We're left with X equals to 0.1. Now, is there a second method to solve x here? Yes. What is that method? Let's see. Remember how we defined not mutually exclusive. We said this one simply says P of V or W is equal to P of V plus P of W minus P of V and W. P of V or W already have it 0,80, 0,80, which is equal to P of V, we already have 0,35, 35 plus P of W, we already have 0,55 minus P of A and B, it's X. So we take this, we put it this side, 0,80 minus 0,35 minus 0,55 is equal to negative X. This gives us negative 0,1, which is equal to negative X. Then we divide both sides by negative 1, by negative 1. These two cancels, we left with 0,1, which is equal to these two cancels, we left with X. So now we know that, okay, fine, our X is equal to 0,1. Two methods of solving X that we know. Let's look at here. We already know that instead of X we have 0,1. Now here 0,55 minus 0,1 we get 0,45, 0,45. Here 0,35 minus X, we have 0,35 minus 0,1 we have 0,25. And remember, while we used to see this 0,45 at all times, 45 always makes us laugh, but we know what is it for at the end of the day. Now let's look at 0,25, 0,1, 0,45 and 0,2, which is now with the simple space is S, which is equals to 1. Now let's look at this. Okay, determine the value of X, we're done. Now we are removing those X's so that we can solve this. We move to P of not V or W. What does it mean? In this case, P of not V or W simply says it's P of not V plus P of W minus P of not V and W. Let's check. This is very simple, guys. Let's look at it. P of not V. Not V, we know that it's not V. Not V, it's this. This is not V. So we cancel not V. They said not V. So we remove V. And we're left with 0,45 and 0,2. So that is going to be 0,65 plus P of W. What is P of W? P of W is 0,45 plus 0,1, which is 0,55 minus P of not V and W. P of not V is this. Then and W and this. So if you're saying P of not this and this, which one is left? This 0,45. So we put our 0,45. Try to go deep with that. I know it might confuse there and there. Now 0,65 plus 0,55 minus 0,45, it's supposed to be 0,75, right? 0,75, eh? It's 0,75. Then now we understand that, okay, fine, this is where we end with this thing. So now, since we are done with this part now, we want to move to the second one. P of V and not W. P of V and not W is 0,25. The answer is already there as 0,25. That's our answer. But how can we do this using that? We simply say P of V and not W. Going to have P of V plus P of not W minus P of V or not W. What is our P of V? P of V is 0,25 plus 0,1, which is 0,35. 0,35, right? 0,35 plus P of not W. Not W is 0,25 plus 0,2, which is just going to be 0.45. 0.45 minus P of V or not W. P of V or not W. So P of V or not W. Understand? P of V or not W. We take this, we go back to finding what is this using not mutually exclusive. V or not W, we know that it's going to be P of V plus P of not W minus P of V and not W. So P of V is 0.35 plus not W. Not W is 0.45 minus P of V and not W. P of V and not W is 0.25. 0.25. Then we go back and say 0.35 plus 0.45 minus 0.25. We get 0.55. So we get 0.55. Let me take this back to the 0.55. So we get 0.35 plus 0.45 minus 0.55. We get 0.25. So our answer here again is equals to 0.25. You can simply see this is very nice, guys. So I hope you understood this very well, and keep on rewinding it to understand more and more. I broke down complementary events, mutually exclusive, not mutually exclusive, in one video. So I hope you guys understood very well, and just comment down below and tell me what is it that is left, what is it that you do not understand, so that we dwell deep. Remember, we have a lot of different types of questions when it comes to probability, but these ones, they are always there in these question papers. So for now, thank you guys. Do not forget to subscribe and hit that like button. So yeah, thank you so much. I'll be back with another video next time.